So here we're looking at the second reaction of methane, which is the substitution reaction. Alright, so what is a substitution reaction? A substitution reaction is a reaction in which there is displacement of an atom or group of atoms by another atom. Alright, it is a reaction in which there is displacement. To displace means to remove, to shift. Alright, so there is displacement of an atom or group of atom by another atom. That is what substitution reaction is all about. And we're going to make an illustration here. So it is important that you should know that alkanes undergo substitution reaction with halogens. Alright, halogens are the elements in group 7 of the periodic table. The elements in group 7 of the periodic table are referred to as what? Halogens. And the elements in the group 7 of the periodic table are fluorine, chlorine, bromine, then we have iodine. These are the elements in group 7 of the periodic table. These elements are referred to as what? Halogens. So what we're trying to say here is that alkanes can undergo substitution reaction with halogens. Alright, so remember that the alkane we are using here is methane. Alright, so when methane undergoes substitution reaction with chlorine, we refer to that reaction as chlorination of what? Of methane. So the chemical formula for methane is CH4. Alright, CH4. And structurally, methane looks like this. This is methane. Alright, this is hydrogen, this is hydrogen, this is hydrogen, and this is hydrogen. This is our methane, CH4. Alright, so when methane reacts with chlorine, that form of reaction is referred to as what? A substitution reaction. So when methane reacts with chlorine, what will you get? This chlorine, we have two chlorine here, right? Cl2. Chlorine is an example of a diatomic element, right? So one of these chlorine will displace one of these hydrogen from here. So when one of these chlorine displaces hydrogen from here, you are going to have a substance like this. This is hydrogen, this is hydrogen. All right, so the chlorine will displace this hydrogen from here, so that it will replace it. All right, so there will be chlorine here plus HCl. So that hydrogen that is being displaced from here will come and react with this word chlorine to give you HCl. So one of the chlorine will displace this hydrogen from here to give you chloromethane. This compound is what is referred to as what? Chloromethane. Chloromethane. So when chlorine reacts with methane, it will give you chloromethane and what? Hydrochloric acid. Alright, so if I should write this out in a chemical formula, alright, this is when methane, CH4, reacts with chlorine, alright, the reaction is a substitution reaction. So one of these chlorine will displace this hydrogen from here to give you CH3, alright, Cl. So one of these chlorine has displaced one of these hydrogen from here to give you chloromethane plus what? HCl. Alright, so when this chloromethane, CH3Cl, when it reacts with another chlorine, it will react to give you CH2. That is, it will displace one of these hydrogen from here and it will replace it, right? Cl2 plus what? Hydrogen chloride. When this compound is referred to as what? Dichloromethane. So when this compound dichloromethane, CH2, Cl2, when it reacts with another chlorine, it will react to give you CHCl3. That is, it will displace one of these hydrogen from here to give you CHCl3 plus what? Hydrogen chloride. So when this compound is referred to as trichloromethane, all right? So when this compound trichloromethane, CHCl3, reacts with another chlorine, it will give you CCl4. It will displace this hydrogen from here, all right? Displace this hydrogen from here, and it will form tetrachloromethane plus hydrogen chloride. So this reaction is going to progress provided chlorine is still present, all right? So this is what the substitution reaction is all about. Substitution reaction, again, is the displacement. So you can see that when chlorine reacts with methane, it displaces one of the hydrogen from here. When chloromethane reacts with chlorine, it will displace one of these hydrogen from here. When dichloromethane reacts with chlorine, it will displace one of these hydrogen from here to give you this. When trichloromethane reacts with chlorine, it will displace this hydrogen from here to give you tetrachloromethane plus hydrogen chloride. All right, so this is what substitution reaction is all about. It is a reaction in which there is displacement of an atom or group of atoms by another atom. And alkanes, generally, they undergo substitution reaction with what? Halogens. All right. So like I mentioned before, halogens are the elements in group 7 of the periodic table. They are fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine. All right. So this is a summary of the chlorination of methane, which is a substitution reaction. So when methane reacts with chlorine, it will give you chloromethane plus hydrogen chloride. All right. This compound is referred to as chloromethane. You can see that one of the hydrogen has been removed, has been displaced by the chlorine to give you chloromethane. So when chloromethane reacts with chlorine, another chlorine, it will give you dichloromethane. So one of the hydrogen here will be displaced to give you dichloromethane and hydrogen chloride. When this dichloromethane then reacts with another chlorine, it will give you trichloromethane. It will displace one of these hydrogen from here, all right, and then replace it and form trichloromethane and hydrogen chloride. So when this trichloromethane then reacts with another chlorine, it will give you tetrachloromethane. So this chlorine will displace this remaining hydrogen from it, and it will form tetrachloromethane plus hydrogen chloride. All right, so this is what the substitution reaction of alkane is all about. So this is what, to be precise, the chlorination of methane will give you at the end. So it is very important for you to note these things. What is the reason why chlorine displaces hydrogen from methane? Why? Why does chlorine displace hydrogen from methane? So the reason is because chlorine is more electronegative than hydrogen. So you can be asked this in an exam. Why does chlorine displaces hydrogen from methane? Why does chlorine displaces hydrogen from methane? So chlorine displaces hydrogen from methane because chlorine is more electronegative than what? Than hydrogen. That is why it can displace it from the methane. That is why it can displace the hydrogen from the methane. All right. Then another thing that you should note here is to note Then another thing that you should note here is these two substances, trichloromethane and tetrachloromethane. So it's very important for you to know that trichloromethane is used as an anesthetic in surgical operations. All right, it is used as an anesthetic in surgical operations. So during surgical operations, those drugs that they give in order for a patient not to feel pain are referred to as anesthetics. All right, so trichloromethane can be used as an anesthetic in surgical operations. Then we have tetrachloromethane. Tetrachloromethane is a very useful organic solvent in industries. All right, so it is a useful organic solvent. So organic solvents, they are solvents that can, that are non-polar, so to say. So organic solvents, they are able to dissolve things like fats. They are able to dissolve things like oil. They are able to remove stain from any substance. So tetrachloromethane is a very useful organic solvent in industries. All right, so you must know these three things that I mentioned here. Very important. So next, we're going to look at the uses of methane.